Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whenever you are listening to us, welcome to the fourth chapter of the LDLA podcast. Mr. Enrique, hello.
Hello, Juan Camilo. Yes, this is the fourth one, and we are so happy to be here again. And of course, I'm so happy because we have an amazing group of a pair of guests today. A couple of girls who are going to talk about something really related to their gender. So the first one is Maria Paz. Hello, Maria Paz.
Hi, Mr. Thank you for letting me be here.
All right, thank you for being here. And our next guest is a teacher of LDLA. So, Eliana, how's it going?
I'm really fine. Thank you to invite me us here.
All right. So, and as usual, tradition, Mr. Juan Camilo is the person who gave us the topic. Juan Camilo, what's today's topic?
Okay, as you well know, during the history, there has been some problems and conflicts in terms of gender, no? We have had some differences, some inequalities, some problems in terms of women and men, but today, the question is, what do you believe is the role of the women in the current society, taking into account the fights, maybe the difference between the two kind of genders? What do you believe is it and what it is the role in the current society?
I think that the role of the women in society is really important because, as you may know, one of the biggest role we have is teaching like our sons, our daughters, how to become better persons, better people to the next society.
Oh, good.
I would like to start my answer by saying that I'm really proud about our history as a woman because many of us have died fighting for our rights, of course. And at the same time, I would like to say that I'm also very proud because when someone asks to a woman today, what's your job? We can say more than I am a housewife, you know? So we can say now that I'm an engineer and a teacher, and a doctor and a nurse. I'm saying that I know that we have been improved a lot. And at the same time, I know that's a Colombian woman. We need to continue, having more rules. But in the beginning of the question, you say there are many differences. Yes, and one aspect that I would like also to say is that between us, as a girl and as a woman, we also have our differences between what we can consider what is real feminism, what kind of equalities and rights things we are looking for.
It's just a spicy topic, no? I have questions already. I'm going to start with the basic one, which is one that I have thought before coming. I don't know. Well, maybe I'm talking about my own experience, but I would say that the great contributor to the chauvinism, to the misogynistic behavior, is the same women, the grandmothers, the ancestors that continue some traditions and tell you, hey, you have to do this for your man, you have to do this for your kids, and they place in your back some behaviors that you continue and continue. So what do you believe about it? Am I right or probably it's just my perception?
Okay, I think you're right. You're right. But I think that one big part that we have is that since we grow, we have to, encourage and maybe break that type of stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the same time the society is advancing, we need to change our minds because we're not the same years as our grandmothers and
not continue the same, no? Yes, I believe one of the greatest things that you have done is at least to try to reflect on the role of women. Okay, so hey, I want to ask you another question to you because, well, what I could perceive from the feminism nowadays, no, that being a housewife is like, no, I'm not, no, I cannot be. Do you believe that is a bad idea to think about it, to think about that, like in a bad way, to be a housewife?
Oh no, it's not a bad idea. In fact, most of my girls in my family are housewives, But what I mean is that it's much easier now to be a teacher, to be an engineer, to be a doctor, etc., than before. As many of us here know, I'm not as younger as I look. Sorry, yeah, I'm 47. So years ago, to say I'm going to study engineer is just to see one girl in the classroom and that's it. But now when you are in the classrooms and etc., you will see more than 7, why not, at least 10 women, being engineer and etc. This is what I mean when I'm saying housewife. But in fact, Juan Camilo, something that I consider is one of the most important aspects as a woman is to be a housewife. Not to be recognized that a job like a role, a big role in the society, this is what is wrong, yes? So it means about the roles as a payment situations, when you are a housewife, there is not a kind of salary there. This is what I would like to imply, but not to mean that being a housewife is something bad or not. In fact, I consider myself that I'm not only a teacher, I'm also a housewife.
And even, and the thing is, what I consider, I consider your comment really interesting because what I see is that housewife becomes in a bad way when it's the only option.
Yeah.
When it's the only option. What is a condemned? When it's a condemned, all right? That is the problem. All right. This, as Mr. Juan Camilo mentioned, this is a picky topic, all right? But that's the idea. That's why we're here. Well, Eliana and Maria Paz, so what's the role of education in terms of empower women in this society, which is a hard society in terms of the music, the politics, the economy is against you, all right? No, you too, it's against women, all right? What's the role of education? You as a teacher, you as a student, what do you think about it?
As a teacher, I would like to share a kind of story that maybe can answer this question in the beginning. Years ago, and I'm talking about more than 7-10 years, I was in school, and in that school, I have the same roles that my partners also have, yes. But I have a special discount because I have 1 hour extra in order to have my baby on. So it was like a strange like me because when my husband also was father, that was in the same moment that I was a mother, he didn't have any kind of discount. But I have this discount. So it was something like, crashed my mind, and I decided not to continue having there. This is the experience I want to share. As a woman in teaching a classroom, when I can see girls, of course, I always say, try to be equal. As you know, I had a son and a daughter. And I always imply then they need to be equal, equal, no difference. Not like, here this is the chauvinist, here there's going to be the feminism. Yes? Be equal. You know how to clean your room? Okay, also you will do it. You know how to clean, cook, and etc.? Also you will do it. You are going to date someone when you're going to be, 15, 16? Also you can do it. This is more or less what I'm trying to explain to, of course, my students. And also I try and do my best. If I have...
It's not that easy.
Yes.
Especially, it's interesting because we are just not in a men culture or women culture. We are in a human culture, right? Which is through examples that we can teach. Maria Paz, about the topic.
I think that part of the responsibility is that we as teenager girls, we have also to teach them how to do things right, because sometimes they, when there is something, for example, the reggaeton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're always cheering it, but we never reflect on what are we listening to. So I think part of the responsibility is to check, and it's not only for men, it's also for us, because how are we going to expect to get respect if we don't make it?
Exactly. You are not respecting yourself.
Yeah.
Good point.
Good point.
Okay. According to that, I know that you want to jump to reggaeton music. Yes, but for it, I wanted to ask you about the jobs. Yes, because for example, yes, have you seen that the reggaeton music is going to influence how you treat women, as you were mentioning, how you perceive it? But I wanted to mention that because I believe it could be the same in jobs. No, for example, have you seen that there are some jobs that can be done for men or are acquired only for women.
Yeah. And the salary.
And the salary. And we don't notice it, no? Because, for example, the kindergarten teachers, no?
Oh, yeah.
You never, or I don't know if you asked yourself about it when you were young to be one. No, and it is not like, well, what I'm not going to be, I'm going to be other thing. And it's quite that, like, the jobs are influenced by this difference in gender. Do you believe it?
Oh, yes. For example, I studied a Bachelor of Languages in my university. As boys, my classmates that were men, etc., were considered with another kind of, I don't know if I can say that, they were considered like a no very men because they decided to be a teacher. Yeah, and they decided to be in the language part. So it is supposed that if you want to be a teacher, the man is going to be the mathematician, and the girls is going to be the English one. Yeah, exactly. And I remember that one day I just seen in a school, it was the only one in which the kindergarten program was led by a boy. Yeah, and always in kindergarten, there are girls, but that one was a boy. Also, I can see that when the girls studied engineer, they starting to maybe be the secretary of the others, not the real engineering. So talking about engineering and maybe my area that is, of course, education field and etc. This is what I wanna share with you. Yeah.
Even with games, no, about the thing about chess, no, that chess is only for men. No, that's what they say. I'm not going to say it. It's not.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's just perception is the
there is something that they mention nowadays. Maripaz, you want to mention about the topic?
Maybe, something that really, I think, influence this type of decisions is the stereotypes. As you were saying, something that we are like really into is that engineering is just for men. So I think that we get like no more motivation because of that type of comments until we try it.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, let's pass to the beautiful part of the podcast. I want to make a question. You're going to say it like directly, but I know where you are going to lead the talking. What do you believe is not the role, but what do you consider is the body of women in the current society? What has it become? Is it an object? Is it a tool? What is it?
I think it has been like a tool, Have you ever seen the advertising of cars brands that appears like a woman with a with a dress, like buy this car and all that type of stuff.
A sexy girl.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I think that's one part. Also, it could be seen like art.
Okay.
What other I think? Art. Maybe something that is really important is that thanks to, movies and all that type, is that the sexuality attractive is very strong. So the way to attract people is pretty sexual nudity and all that type. So I think that it could be used for a lot of things. So
yes, I believe it's a perception of men to the women that they see them as a superficial thing. I totally agree with you.
I'm sorry, before you, I'll just say something is, and also is because everything started with the perception of the world is ruled by men. So the women body has to be a part of another object of the owner of the world, all right? When everything changed, and especially in this part of the world, it has been difficult to change that perception. Because talking about advertisement, the other day I was checking, many years ago, I was checking some advertisement from Australia and New Zealand, all right? And they had another perception, all right? That is not typical to here, for example, a beer advertisement is full of bikini girls, all right,
Yeah.
And during the other parts of the country, the world was just people selling something, but not only girls. But in this part of the world, the the women body has become an object, part of the market.
Yeah.
Which is so awful, because I have a mother, I have a wife, I have a daughter, and I'm expecting the other one. And it's gonna be really hard to live in this kind of world. But again, continue. I know that you want to say something, but I'm gonna open another question: is how to start changing this little by little, because it's impossible to make some big steps, big changes. But how we can start changing little by little? All right, I know that you have something to say with the previous question, but anyway, I opened that one.
Oh, no.
It's related.
Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
Certainly, and at the same time, I absolutely agree with you. Strongly agree, in fact. And I would like to answer the question you just had. And answer that question, I would like to say that the role of being a mother and being a father is the most important thing to change. Yes. And also the role of being teaching to the students. The students are the new generation, and they are going to change the kind of things. Try to be equal is the most important, maybe at home. Yes.
So
So I think that the most important role that a mother and a father is going to have in the family is that aspect. How we are going to make them to change and to see us not as a tool, not as an object that happens now. What is the relationship between a motorbike, and a girl in a bikini, as you say?
exactly.
I don't have an idea. Yes? Can she ride that motorbike, in fact? Yeah? This is like my question. As a teacher, I consider it's a strong responsibility to show the girls and to show the boys how they need to maybe model the society in a good way, how they need to improve or to do better the mistakes that we cannot do in our past, because we cannot say that we were perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we are not. So if we make mistakes, how they can change then. Yeah? So it's a kind of problem solving sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like to spin around the topic because we're like in the bad side, no? Like the women are like this, the society has done this. And I want to make can be a very simple question, but it's a question for you to think. Yes, it's more like a spiritual, because I'm going to ask you, what is the definition of woman? What can be the definition in ideal terms? What is a woman?
I would like to start by saying that being fighter. Yeah? To be a woman is to be a fighter. That is. And broke the life. It's not easy to be us. Yes? And I know, I'm sure that it's not easy to be a man. I'm sure about it. Yes?
Definitely.
But at the same time, I have to say, I'm so sorry to say that, but sometimes in some period of their lives, you have the way much easier than us.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to say that being a woman is to be a fighter and a beautiful tiger too.
No, good analogy, no? Go ahead, Maria Paz.
No, I really think that women are basically like, how can you say it? Then distractor.
You see, it was a simple but difficult question. Hey, that's what happens, no? When you try to, you can talk about things, but when you try to define them,
Exactly.
I mean, I think we have a really important role because we're in charge of a lot of things, that, for example, women are really important to family.
Mhm.
Also, I think that women have some aspects that men don't have,
Mhm.
And yes, maybe, I mean, it's kind of abstract, but
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the question for the audience. Did she answer the question?
Okay, well,
Enrique, do you want it?
defined or ask? Well, I agree with the definition of fighter. Fighter definitely, and I learned and I see every single day that definition in my mother.
Mm.
Okay, and it's related to that. It's weird. It's weird because in this society, we are living in a macho society, and that's stuff. But at home, grandmother, the mother, the aunts are ruling the home. Who are the best money administrator at home?
mothers.
Exactly. And grandmothers too.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's weird. Or it's weird because at home, is women who are, ruling and supporting the home, okay? The family. But outside, in terms of politician, imagine that, imagine that in terms of politics, in terms of economy, is the man, power, which is weird, no? It's a contradiction itself. Okay, but continue with the topic, in terms of women, in terms of the women body, how important is the role of women in terms of art, the real art? I mean, I'm not talking about the superficial or something that is wrong called art, which is just reggaeton. It's just noise. Okay, but what is the role of women in art?
And absolutely agree with Maria Paz in this aspect because we have been talking about it a lot of time, and it's Frida Kahlo.
Oh, yeah.
One of the artistic women that I know that we really loved and etc. Yeah, maybe you have more information about Frida. Yes, this Mexican power girl. Okay, woman, of course. So you also, I think, Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
She's a really important, iconic figure on not only art, movies, photography and all this stuff. So I think it all starts maybe in antiquity with the Greek and Roman.
Yeah, exactly. Like Cleopatra.
Like a fascination for not only woman's body, also masculine body. So I think that it has helped society in some parts of art, like, painting.
Yes, you see, Mr. Rico, we are beautiful as well. You're beautiful everywhere.
I knew it. Wait. All right. So, has been a pleasure to be here again, as usual. Thank you so much for being here, for accepting our invitation. The topic is not really close. This session is closing, but the topic is really open, and I really appreciate. And thanks for being here, and thanks for being fighters. Juan Camilo, do you have the traditional? Yes.
Oh my God!
Be careful with it.
Hey,
Thank you.
It's just no question that probably is not only for you, but for the women that are in our houses, but to change it, trying to modify it, okay? The answer. By any kind, in any circumstance in your lives, with the people which you interact with, have you ever felt as an object?
Yes.
So sad. Okay. My friends, we will see you in the next chapter. As always, Mr. Enrique, thank you very much. And goodbye.
Thank you so much. Goodbye. See you later.